I've been noticing a pattern lately that seems to ensue every time I try to endeavor something new creatively or entrepreneurial, something that may take sustained amounts of effort over a long, prolonged, possibly indefinite period of time. And it's not like I'm missing on conscientiousness or industriousness. In fact, I have a pretty good solid track of sticking through with my goals over time, like being religious with my fitness routine, with my studies. But the real moment when I quit and give up for me is when I face the direct possibility of failure, of my work being exposed and invalidated. Let me explain. I have the benefits of having journaled throughout my 20s ever since I was 21. And looking back through my old notes and scribbled, I seem to see an emerging sort of dissatisfaction, mainly around not putting myself out there enough, professionally or otherwise. And the way I used to handle this is with all sorts of distractions. I'm not going to go here into how we as species use vices to sort of step back from our responsibilities and obligations, but I will bring up another thing: procrastination. Because this one is a very subversive and very subtle way of also distracting ourselves from our goals and from our objectives. So we normally refer to procrastination in terms of binging on Netflix, playing video games, scrolling endlessly on Facebook and Instagram, through 9gag, if anyone ever uses 9gag anymore. However, there's some even more subtle ways of procrastination that we don't even recognize as such. Introducing overanalyzation, overthinking, over-researching and over-preparing for stuff that never seems to actually happen. I struggle with it on a daily basis. Every time I make an excuse not to make a new video, when I think it's not good enough, not ready, when I spend endless amounts of hours reading, researching, preparing, scripting, instead of doing the one thing that will single-handedly push my effort forward, pressing that upload button and getting it done by the end of the day. Usually I say I need more time to fix my script, to gather more b-roll, to be more consistent in my message, to be more polished, to have a better color grading, to not stumble on my words, for example. But the irony is that the moment we think we need more information is really the moment we really need less. It's just another over-planning and over-analyzation. So if I commit to making a new video every day and I do not make it happen, that's just me not being real with myself. I'm just lying to myself about something. And I want to break this down a bit further. Yes, of course I care about my videos getting views, about making an impact, about people caring about them, about people viewing them. Yes, I want to feel like this stuff actually matters and that my effort is not spent in vain. But if I hide behind this veil of what the outcome is going to be and I justify my lack of input on that, then that's where I feel like I'm not really being true to myself. I've done it in the past. Moments when I set out to accomplish something and I found excuses, lamentations to make myself feel better about my situation. But in fact, all I've achieved was to find this perfectly crafted, tailored story about why I'm not going after the things that I want to go and why I'm not making it happen for myself. But at the end of the day, the reality check for me was I just didn't feel any better. I just didn't feel like I was unstuck. And if you feel like your story is not a story, then that's the quickest and the most immediate reality check. Once that's said and done, does it make you feel better? Does it make you feel unearthed? Or do you still feel stuck? Only you know that, and I knew that very well myself. So really, what's going on there is the fear of failure. That's also almost making me stumble my words now. In the process, I've become too attached to the outcome. When I set out to accomplish this, I merely cared about going through the motions and committing to it and proving to myself that I can do it. But the moment I became invested in it, I started caring about more than that. And the baseline had suddenly changed and jumped. Now I don't just care about giving it my best, but I also care about it being recognized at my best. And it's funny that when I set out the goal, I set out in a very stoic fashion. So for example, the Stoics say that if you go and play a tennis game, you'll never be able to control the outcome, whether you win that game or not. What you can control, however, is your input. How much you're going to prepare for it and whether you're going to play the game or not. It's just like jumping out of an airplane. You can prepare your parachute and check it and recheck it, but at the end of the day, it's jumping out of the plane that's going to make the difference. And in my case, it's making sure that that video gets in every day in, day out. So a few of the strategies that have worked for me to deal with this were to start seeing it as a bit of a game, to start realizing that this fear is no longer what it used to be, the gripping fear of death of some wild animal potentially ending your life prematurely, but rather it's just a game. It's something that can have potentially unlimited upsides with really not a massive downside. And when you start seeing it as a game, you have to make sure that it's winnable, that's something achievable, and it's something that you want to commit to and you want to get on with. Another thing that works really well is to give a deadline. The reason why this deadline thing works really well is because it helps me cut out unessential stuff and to just get the product out there no matter what. There is an objective measure of how much you can prepare, and there is some truth to be said about people who prepare and who do as a consequence better. But if you over prepare to the point of never actually jumping, taking the leap of faith, then that's going to be counterintuitive at the end of the day. So as always, there's a call to action there. I'm a big proponent of action, and in fact I argue that only in action and setting out milestones and plans for ourselves that we really learn a thing or two about ourselves, or in the lack of action thereof. Please don't be like me. Don't just try and study and prepare and think about it. Don't overanalyze it. In fact, try and do this challenge with me. Set out to accomplish something in the next 30 days and actually write it down with sort of deliverable outcomes day in, day out. And if you haven't watched my previous 2 videos yet, then go and watch those now. And please comment with whatever goals you had set out to achieve and with what comes up for you. And I'm going to tailor the upcoming content to accommodate for those comments and to make sure that I bring you along the journey with me. As always, share with anyone who you think might find it valuable and insightful. Look after yourselves, and until next time, keep at it.